Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sink 3-pointers, money shots all net, all vets. Bumps we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept the storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields and interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube and fade to black, yeah, the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual, Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree in the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson. The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers, fabric softener. Jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch stores type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like Porsche lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, the scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost they souls, niggas got holes in they feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it. It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descended of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Blast.
TV.
Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sink 3-pointers, money shots all net, all vets. Bumps we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept the storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields and interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube and fade to black, yeah, the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual, Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree in the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson. The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers, fabric softener. Jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch stores type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like Porsche lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, the scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost they souls, niggas got holes in they feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it.
It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descendant of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Bless.
TV.
Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Welcome to another episode of Melanin Tuesdays. You are now rocking with the best. Yes, this is your host, Brother Red Pillar. And that song that you just heard, ladies and gentlemen, that is Theta Waves, featuring the Twin Pillars. All right, Theta Waves. How's everybody doing on this beautiful Tuesday? I want to say first and foremost, you already know, pardon me about last night, Melanin Mondays. Pardon me about last night's Melanin Mondays. We were not able to pull it off until like very, very late at night. I made the executive decision to not do a 1 a.m. show called Melanin Mondays because nobody is going to watch it because it's no longer Monday. So here we are on Melanin Tuesdays, and we are in the building, and I have a perfect presentation lined up for you guys. You know, we're going to do some video clips. We're going to talk about some trending topics, and we're going to enjoy ourselves type shit, you know? So let's do the roll call. Let's see who's in the building. I appreciate everybody pulling up on an afternoon like this. I know y'all got things to do. I'm not going to keep y'all for super duper long. We ain't going to be in here for 3. This is not going to be a 3-hour show. But we will get to it. You feel me? We will be getting to it. And I do believe that we will be on Black Magic 363 Empire later on tonight, talking about the Jay-Z concert and certain things surrounding this whole situation. All right. So look out for that. All right. Okay. So we got Philly in the building, but of course, shout out to Philly and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to Philly. Philly. Shout out to Bowie, Maryland. Shout out to Arkansas. Shout out to South Carolina, Naptown, the Gas House, Dallas, Texas. We got Atlantis in the building. Yeah, Stone Mountain in the building. Minneapolis in the building. Tucson, AZ, Seattle up in here. We got the Cleveland in the building. Denver, Colorado, DMV, London, what's goody? All right, Khalifa, California, DMV, Harlem, Minneapolis. Shout out to Delaware. Shout out to Missouri. Yes, sir. Shout out to Manhattan, Kansas, right? Yes. Charlotte, North Carolina, up in this thing. All right now. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to everybody pulling up. Yeah, man, this weekend or the strong in New York City was a beautiful experience. I am still out here. I don't know how long I will be in New York City, but I will keep everybody updated. We do have a lot of things that we need to be doing for the month of July in New York City. So for the most part, we should be here for the remaining of the month. Starting in August, there's the Invest Fest, and I have a date that I need to be in Atlanta, a specific date in the beginning of August. So I'll keep everybody updated with the August plans. But we are on the road to Invest Fest, ladies and gentlemen. We are definitely on the road to Invest Fest. We have a lot. That whole strong in, we're building up a few things around that weekend in Atlanta. Case in point, we will be doing an album release for the Voltron project featuring Red Pill, Cambada, and Blue Pillar. That is going to be that weekend, the Invest Fest weekend in Atlanta. And we're also contemplating having a writer's camp. If you're not familiar with a writer's camp, that's when artists come through and they write music, they perform music. It's basically like you know, let's say it's almost like a workshop. It's almost like a boot camp. There you go. It's almost like a boot camp where we will be in the presence of some very, very, very talented artists. And I don't know. I don't know if it's the hype. I don't want to be one of those people that caught up in the hype. The album release party in New York, it will happen. Yes, we will have the Voltron album release party in New York, but I believe that our first album release is going to be in Atlanta. And I'm thinking about making it a headphone party because, I'm thinking about I like the headphone experience. You get to hear everything clear. You get to hear the beats. You get to hear the lyrics. You get to immerse yourself into this experience. Now, if I learned anything from the Jay-Z 30 experience, which I'm sure a lot of people are going to have opinions about, and at the end of the day, everybody's opinion is warranted. I'm not here to challenge anybody's opinion about how they want to view it, how they feel about it, what it means to them. I'm not in that discussion. I'm going to remove myself from that discussion. I ain't taking nothing personal. If somebody has a problem with me saying that I learned from the rollout, I'm learning from what I'm seeing from a marquee artist, because I am an artist and I do have a catalog. You feel me? I'm looking at it from a perspective that many people might not see it as. I was literally outside when that music was out. 1996, the summer, 1996, Illmatic drop. I believe we was rocking, we was still pumping Cuban Links. Reasonable Doubt drop. Now, Reasonable Doubt wasn't as big of a hit as it is now when it first came out. But I'm a Brooklyn representative and I'm a music connoisseur. So I was tapping into everything. And you just had to be outside. So my memories are tied into the music a little bit different than somebody that was born in 2000 or 2005. Or somebody that was born in 98, or somebody that was alive and wasn't outside because they couldn't come outside. You feel me? Those are completely different perspectives. There's people that don't like the music because the music reminds them that they didn't have motion in 1996. They don't have nothing to tie the music to. They don't have memory. The memories might be bad. They might have got beat up in 1996. They might have got robbed for their Nikes. I don't know. You know what I mean? Shit happens. I got robbed before. I'm not bulletproof. I got somebody caught the drop on me. You feel me? It happens. But my experience is my experience. And when I share my experience, I'm going to share it from a perspective that's not going to be filled with a lot of biasness. Is Jay-Z worth scrutinizing? Of course. At the end of the day, all artists are. And one thing that I won't never do is I won't never allow, especially as a teacher and a scholar and somebody who stood on business since y'all met me, I will never let no teacher take the place. I would never let a rapper or an entertainer take the place of what a teacher was born to do. Even though the early era of rappers were like multifaceted. They were trying to teach and rap, going back to like KRS-One in the early days. Even Jazzo even Jazzo for that matter, right? Um, Jazzo was trying to drop bars and shit like that. I believe he may be God body and everything, but you know that responsibility. I'll never put that on the back of a rapper. Them niggas is entertainers, and they're here to entertain. And I was thoroughly entertained as Strongin. Thoroughly, I promise you, I was entertained by everything that I was witnessing. I was entertained by the hype that was surrounding it. When I got off the train at Yankee Stadium and I saw that they turned that whole entire area into like a vendor's village of bootleg, the best bootleg shit that you could ever find in your life. And people were outside smoking and drinking and, you know, just have fellowshipping, you know what I'm saying? And all of these things. Yeah, I was really into that. That reminded me of a bygone era that I yearned for. I literally yearned for these type of things only because of my New York blood. You know, imagine coming back to New York. I wasn't there for that ticker tape parade. I wasn't there for all of the hoopla around the New York Knicks. And I respect it. But my son and my father, those are the New York Knicks. Y'all ain't never see me on camera playing basketball. That's not my thing. But I'm into rap though. I'm a rapper. Music is my thing. I love the Knicks and everything, but that would have been kind of fugazi of me to make it all the way to New York to be in a ticker tape parade, and I'm not a basketball player. Just to be seen on camera, nah, that's called clout chasing. I'm not there for that. And I didn't come to New York to come to no damn concert. I came to New York for business. You feel me? I came to New York for business, and it just so happens that I got my children with me, you know, enjoying their summer in New York because they want to experience New York in the summer. So I was like, you know, I asked my daughter the minute I picked her up, I was like, you want to go to a Jay-Z concert? And she was like, nah, I'm good. She wasn't into it, you know, and the children, they not into shit like that, you know what I'm saying? You know, but I did take her up to Yankee Stadium so she could see New York in its essence. You know what I mean? I did take her so she could see the, you know what I mean? I needed her to see that. She, you know, she don't get to see shit like that. So, you know, she was good. And then when she was ready to leave, we bounced. You know what I'm saying? When she was ready to go, we left. You know? But I learned a lot. I learned a lot. That rollout was impeccable. That rollout was impeccable. Oh my goodness. The marketing was impeccable. The shit, the way that they transformed New York City into like a whole Jay-Z ecosystem. If you're not taking notes, then you're not really I don't know. If you're not taking notes, then I really don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? You got to put the you know, it's so many opinions. People are opinionated, and that's cool and everything. But I learned how to put certain things to the side while I learn, because you could get in the way of you learning some shit. You could get in the way of some gems that are being dropped right in front of you when you get consumed and you get blinded by your opinions. So I learned a great lesson in longevity. I learned a great lesson in marketing. I learned a great, the audio is a little bit muzzled. Oh, well, I can't help that. Let me see if I'm on the right microphone. Give me 1 minute. I learned a great lesson. And when I say longevity, 30 years, right? I got an album that's 10 years old, right? And 30 years from now, would I want to come out in Yankee Stadium? Would I want to come out, not the Apollo, would I want to come out in a stadium that fits 45,000 and perform my album? Hell yeah. Do I do like would I want a fan base? Would I want a fan base to turn up for me in 30 years based off of what I put down in the early 2000s that helped define
a generation that helped to define an era, you damn right anybody would. And if somebody is out here saying that they wouldn't, and they do music and they entertain, then they really, I don't know. I can't speak for nobody at the end of the day, but I know that I would. I'm not cool enough to be like, nah, I'm good on that. Fuck yeah. Hell fucking yeah. I want my music to age like fine wine. Nigga, I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes. I'm invested in entertainment right now. I'm taking notes. Like I was able to soak up the energy without even, you know what I mean? I'm able to separate a lot of things. I'm able to sit in the inside of a venue or be around people and siphon energy, energy that I could use. You know, I went right to the studio Friday night immediately. I was with Cam and Rich. We didn't record anything, but we was in the studio though, listening to our music, listening to what we got coming up. You feel me? We was listening to some classics that we cooked up. You feel me? And I was inspired. Cause I'm not really inspired by music like that. I've been sitting on projects, pause, for like 2-3 years. I'm keeping it a buck. The theta waves might have been the theta wave song was like the shit that really inspired me to start looking at the music again. Cause I was not inspired. You know, I was more inspired with this teaching and this technology and helping my people level up. And I was infatuated with the pace at which the technology was moving and whatnot. But yeah, coming outside and seeing, because remember, we talking internet and we talking real life. Two different things, y'all. Two different things. I'm gonna just give you a little insight right here. I'm gonna play this video and we'll talk about it.
Remember, there are levels to this shit, and the people who have internet fame, even a lot of it, are a far cry from the real one. What Jay-Z did this weekend at Yankee Stadium was one of the most powerful, professional, and personal flexes of all time, and it highlights that we live in two very distinct worlds right now, the real world and the internet world. Now, to the first point, Jay-Z sold like 150,000 tickets this weekend. He had 20 of the biggest acts in all of music show up on his behalf, including Nas, Eminem, Pharrell doing like a full Neptune set, Fat Joe and Jadakiss putting on for New York. He had Beyonce and Rihanna on the same show on the same night, which is pretty crazy given all the rumors that circulated after Solange in the elevator. And then while on stage with all those other icons, they put on a masterclass on how to actually perform live. Live band playing the music, everybody rapping their own vocals, no backing track, perfect breath control, enunciation. You could understand everything perfectly while he's mixing and matching verses with beats. There were times these guys damn near sounded like the CD quality version. And that's what brings me to point number 2. There are two very distinct worlds that entertainers live in right now. The real world, which is tangible, it's authentic, it is observable, it's proven by reality. And then there is the internet world, which is not authentic, it's curated, it's algorithm driven, it's all smoke and mirrors. It could never exist outside of the internet the way that it does on social media. And while in our day-to-day, we are all consumed by the internet version of the world, when someone like Jay-Z steps out and does what he did this weekend, it shows that there is a stark difference between the people who live in the real world and on the internet. Jay took over the whole neighborhood all weekend long. It looked like this. There was pop-ups and tents and tables and hustlers, people selling merch. The whole neighborhood of the Bronx became like Hovaville. He was able to do all of this after like a 10-year hiatus. He's put out one album in like 15 years, and he's able to have an impact of someone in their prime who just dropped an album. And that is because Jay-Z is from the real world. And I think the internet, where all the talk about like Drake and Kendrick and bots and streams and all of these arguments that basically turn into like politics where you're just rooting for one side and rooting against the other, I think that whole world didn't know that Jay-Z does it like this. A lot of hate, a lot of people talking about how he's washed up and he was never good and there are no real Jay-Z fans and it's only because of Beyonce. All of this bullshit from the children who just sit on social media all day creating fan fiction based on what they might have heard or what they want to be true. Youngins ice grilling me. Oh, you're not feeling me? Fine. Cost you nothing. Pay me no mind. How embarrassing for the people who have just been quietly hating on Jay-Z while he's like sitting in retirement. And then the very first time he pops out, he proves all of them wrong and shows the world exactly who the fuck he is. In a record-setting, one-of-a-kind, damn near one of the only people in the world who could pull it off like this.
Keep in mind, this is entertainment. We're not talking politics with this situation. Not to dismiss politics and not to put it to the side. It's just that you got to know what you're talking about when you talk about certain things. What we're talking about is the music, the entertainment. And yes, I am human. I get entertained. If you don't like to be entertained, then hey, it is what it is. Listen, it is what it is. That's on you. Entertainment is entertainment. So when New York decide that they want to come out to be entertained, what the fuck do I got to say about that? There's nothing that I'm going to say. It's the summertime in New York. People want to be entertained. Did they come out to talk about boycotts? Did they come out to talk about why you cut your hair? Did they come out for any of that? I don't think so. I think when New York got that hurt, when they heard that he was coming back out after damn near 20 years, they was like, we coming out. And come out they did. Like I was saying before, these was aunties and uncles. There was no children around. There was no YNs. I didn't see one ski mask on guard. I was there for Sunday and Saturday with all of that crowd with thousands of people. I didn't see no YNs, even though, you know, they had people lurking and shit. I ain't see no YNs. I didn't see nobody under 30. I saw the parents of the YNs coming out to enjoy themselves because the music reminded them. We're talking nostalgia, and I spoke about this on the show before, that we're in an era where nostalgia is back. You know, resuscitate your nostalgia. We are in the nostalgia. We are in nostalgia. You know why nostalgia is so fire? Because the shit that they putting out right now is trash. If we were taken care of by the entertainment of today, and they wasn't literally killing each other, then we wouldn't have to fall back into nostalgia. But we're falling back into nostalgia. We are retreating back into into bygone eras and whatnot, because we have to feel a connection. I cannot connect my Wi-Fi to the shit that's going on right now. So what does that mean? That means I'm disenfranchised. I'm disenchanted. I don't even want to put music out because I don't identify with this era right now. I'm one of my best friends is one of the best artists on the planet, and he's not even recognized in these day and ages. That's Cambada, right? So I'm a little disenfranchised. You know what I'm saying? You got people like 38 Special. He don't even got no songs, but he's running around talking crazy about legends and whatnot. This shit is crazy. He's on podcasts and he's not even in the booth. This era is like, you got to understand how artists feel. I'm an artist, you know? So thank you for that, Jaqua, because that's a pivotal statement right there, right? I would ask you, what artists did you grow up listening to? And when you come out and when you say, yo, this artist like Soldier Boy, I'm not saying that that's your artist, but I'm just throwing it out there. And people have this, you know, they have memories that are attached to Soldier Boy, right? Then I will have to fall back and be like, all right, cool. That's what it is. And nobody is saying Jay-Z is that dude. Like, he's not that dude in my book. But the experience, the catalog, the entertainment, you know, it was a show. It was a show for the ages.
That's something that I won't deny. You know what I'm saying? From what I saw, I was getting goosebumps seeing Nas on stage with the fucking with the strawberry Mets jacket. With come on, son. You know we yeah, your fit gotta be put together too. You know what I'm talking about? You know? But we gotta put that shit together. You know what I mean? Like we paying attention to everything. So yeah, Nas outside, they doing ad-libs. Bruh. They doing ad-libs? Yeah, that was crazy, bro. That was crazy to me. And like I said, it brings back time. I grew up in it. People that didn't grow up in it, I grew up I was in the tunnel. Feel me? I was in the arc, right? I was in Atlanta when he came and did the Hard Knock Life tour with DMX. I was there. I was in Clark, Atlanta when he was at Steagles performing. Like, I got memories tied to the demonstration. You feel me? I'm one of the New York, Brooklyn niggas that we took the show on the road. And that was our soundtrack, Dead Presidents. When we was going to out of town and we was hitting up the different states, quiet towns, and tie it down, that was our soundtrack, friend or foe. You know what I mean? We was following marching orders. But you know, I don't live that life anymore. You know? But I'm definitely letting you know that it is what it is. Like that was our soundtrack. Biggie, Life After Death, Ready to Die, Reasonable Doubt, Volume 1 and 2, and The Dynasty. Yes, sir. You know, we threw a little bit of Machiavelli in there. I did because I was more militant than some of the people I grew up around. They didn't gel to Tupac because they said he was too militant. You know, but I did. Jazzo coming out. Do y'all understand the history? There's lore behind everything. So sometimes people don't be understanding the lore, you know? Sometimes people don't be understanding there's lore that goes behind some of the things that we see on these stages. So I needed that boost because I got a classic. I'm sitting on more than one classic. I got some classics with an S on it. So as an artist, I needed to get into that mode. I needed to get into that, you know, into that artist mode because I just don't wake up on artist mode. I'm literally knee deep in this conscious lecturing, you know, whatever the fuck this is even called. I don't even know what it is, but I'm so knee deep in that it's very hard for me to shift gears and to start thinking about making music or just putting music out and performing at a level that is required. You know what I'm saying? You got to remember that takes training, that takes rehearsing. You just don't wake up with that shit. You know, it's a commitment. And I'm really questioning if I could do two things at once. You know, I might have to put I might have to put the microphone down if I want to pick up the microphone for the stage. You know what I'm saying? It would have to be something that I really, really consciously decide I'm gonna just go ahead and do this shit because I want to, you know, I want to roll my classics out, and I don't want to hear nothing about ageism. We need to kill that conversation. I remember me and Blue, we were rallying when we put out the 48 Laws of Power. We was 48 years old, and we was rallying. You know, behind quote unquote artists our age still having a say because we were being disrespected by the younger generation. You know what I mean? We were being disrespected by the up and comers, the SoundCloud era, the DJ academics of the world. You know, they were throwing around this word called old nigga and unk and everything. You know what I'm saying? But then I always got to remind people, and this should be a tattoo and whatnot. The only thing worse than getting old is not getting old. The only thing worse to getting old is not getting old. And it's not even called. Did you see them people on that stage? Huh? Come on. Like we could be, I could be a hater for an hour. I'll get in my hater bag. I'll give niggas what they want, but not this moment. Did you see how black men and women, I'm not even going to talk about the crowd because like I said, I was people watching. I love to people watch. I was people watching and I was amused. I was like, these some beautiful people coming out this train station. These some beautiful people pulling up to Yankee Stadium, bro. For real. But on that stage, in the lights, man, them people look beautiful. Huh? Did you see Beyonce, bro? I don't care what people, I mean, say what you want to say. I gotta respect beauty when I see it. I'm a connoisseur of beauty. That woman is beautiful. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. She was shining. You dig? And I'm not even the biggest fan. You know what I'm saying? I might, there's a few songs that when me and my little my model boo, my ex model boo, you know, that was our little song. I remember that. When I remember the name, I'll tell you. But it's like one of those ballads that she had, you know, a few songs like that. But she was looking good. Everybody looked good, bro. Everybody looked good. Everybody looked like they was. How was her hair weave? Her hair hat? Yeah, her hair hat was together. I think she had the silky Hawaiian and whatnot. She had about 4 packs in there. You know what I'm talking about? She had about 4 packs in there. Then they brought the daughter out. Had the daughter playing the piano. Who looked, yeah, Nas looked immaculate. Okay, how did you know? How did you know this was the song? This was one of the songs. But there's a song off the Beyonce album where she's just serenading this nigga to the point where you could shed a tear. You know what I'm saying? That was our little song right there. But anyway, Nas was looking like he was frozen in time. These niggas should put out a skincare routine. They should put out something that how are you maintaining? It's from the Dangerously in Love album. And it might be Dangerously in Love. Yes, that might be the song where she was serenading. Yes, that's it. That's one of my favorite songs from her. You feel me? She was in her bag. I promise you. You know what I'm talking about? Black love. Black love is the kryptonite. What are you going to do against that? Black love is the kryptonite. Black love is the there's nothing. Even the first video that I saw, well, I was like, yeah, the haters is they're gonna have a hard time with this one. This is almost like beating the Knicks right now. When they put the video out where she was combing the boys' locks out, I was like, oh, this woman loved this man. They might eat babies together, but this woman loved this man. And the hate train that they've created against this black couple, they got children, they got a ring, right? It's going to be very hard for that train to run them over because they done tapped into the kryptonite, and that kryptonite is love. Niggas would be like, it's forced and everything. And whatever you say, love is love. You gonna want a woman to love you like that. I hope so. I hope so. But when I was like, yeah, because keep in mind, I'm on the outskirts looking at it the same way that you are. I'm learning. It's called marketing, right? it's PR. But it's still creativity at the end of the day, and it's still an art form that we all can learn from. That was all part of the rollout campaign. It's a part of a campaign that's called marketing. I'm taking notes. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking notes. I'm like, shit, they're putting on a master class. The rollout, it's a master class. The merch capsule, master class. They had me ready. I was damn near ready to jump and get one of them Yankee jackets. I was like, nigga, this shit right here. But I didn't. You know, I had to catch myself. You know, that's when you know the campaign is strong, when you find yourself getting put underneath that spell. I found myself snapping out many times. Your brother stayed strong, y'all. You'll be proud of me, nigga. I stayed strong. I didn't fold. I'm just reporting from the front lines. You know what I'm talking about? I'm just reporting from the front lines. The spell was thick. I didn't fold though. You know what I'm talking about? You know, I should have had merch. Yeah, I would have bodied that shit. If I'd have cooked something up with Chat GPT, nigga. I'd have bodied that bitch. Yeah, I would have brought it back to the old Harlem days. Brought the folding table out. You know, brought the folding table out. They got busy. So respect ain't got shit to. All right, where's the satanic magic? Just break it down for me, right? Give me the satanic magic, because when you listen to the lyrics, and I could pull them up for Reasonable Doubt, which was the first night. What is satanic about Can't Knock the Hustle? Give me the lyrics that are satanic. What is satanic about Politics as Usual? What is satanic about Where I'm From? I just need to know, where's the Satanism in all of these things? Because y'all, you know, we could say something, but once again, we need more. I just need us to follow up on some of the things that we are carrying. I need us to finish breakfast and whatnot. You know? What's satanic about Can't Knock the Hustle? These are coming of age hustler songs for hustlers, right? For hustlers. People that are out here getting it by any means necessary. And I'm not talking about selling drugs. I'm not talking about pimping. Because you got to remember, the critique against Jay-Z is not as severe now as it was in the early 2000s, because he was somewhat of the pinnacle of fuckery with the drug dealing and the crash materialism. But then we got trap music, and then we got drill music, and then we got dope boy music, and then we got dope fiend music, like codeine music, right? And then we got all of these things, gangbang music. So now when you look at it, it's like, it's critiquable, but the bar has been lowered so low by the niggas that have killed each other, right? And the shooters that be shooting people, and the pimps that are pimping people. I just, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I see somebody trying to mature a little bit. He's not perfect. And once again, I'm not looking at no rapper to be a political advocate for me. I'm a teacher, so I don't need no rapper to teach me. I'm not getting no album to be like, yo, I wonder what song is going to teach me. I don't need that. If I'm going to get music from an artist, then I'll need artistry. I'm looking for artistry. I'm listening to the production. I'm listening to the cadence. I'm looking for the melody. I'm looking for the beat. I'm also looking for the message and whatnot. What is the theme of the album? What is the concept of the album? Where are you going with this? If you are 50 years old, what are you rapping about? If you have children, are you mentioning them? If you're married, are you still rapping about pimping, or are you rapping about fornicating with women? I don't believe you, type shit, right? Unless your artist is a character that's not the person who you are in real life, and that's cool. There are some people like that, but the artist is separated from the actual person. They're like, now that's my alter ego who's out here killing shit, spilling blood and everything. That's not me. So that's what I'm really into. Are you growing? Because, like I said, I was in a tunnel listening to Jay-Z. And when I was in a tunnel listening to Jay-Z, I was outside. I was cased up. I was a hooligan. I was a sophisticated savage, right? I was a sophisticated savage. And as I matured throughout the years and I decided I didn't want to be a savage, I didn't want to be an inmate, I didn't want to be a failure to my family and whatnot, I only was able to identify with some of the artists that I grew up that were growing with me, right? That's what I was looking for. And I appreciate Nasir Jones because Nasir Jones was able to mature, right? He started talking about mature things. Nasir Jones is an investor. He's an angel investor. He has damn near $1 billion based off of his early investments and whatnot. He's a quote unquote techno entrepreneur. He's a technopreneur. I don't know if people know this or not. He's one of the first investors in the Ring camera. He's one of the first investors in Uber. He obviously was able to get good information from trusted sources, and then he jumped on it early and whatnot. And I respect that. I respect that. Okay? So it's like when the Wu-Tang, I grew up with the Wu-Tang, and they was dusty and everything, and they was talking about robbing shit, and they was like grimy and everything. The Wu-Tang was scary to some people back in the days. You know what I mean? Cash rules everything around me. Protect your neck. And throughout the years, I see Method Man mature, pop out in a suit, become an actor, right? Raising his children and stuff like that. These are the type of things that I relate to. These are the type of things when I look around, I'm like, okay, these men are growing. These men are maturing. These men are becoming businessmen. Are they the best businessmen? No, none of them. None of the rappers, in my humble opinion. I think they are at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to business. I think that they traded there because they are musicians and they're entertainers. And a lot of them, sort of like how the athletes, they didn't get that financial type of education, right? They didn't get that financial education. You know, I would say that the new rappers after like the EYL era of trading and day trading and crypto and stocks, there's going to be artists that are going to embody, you know, they're going to be the anomaly. They're going to be what everything was missing out of the first generation or the second generation. Those generations, Jay-Z from an inspirational standpoint, he definitely got people to get into their bag, into their money bag. He definitely showed people, yo, I'm going to apply some of these lyrics to my come up and I'm going to get in my financial bag, because everybody wasn't out here throwing bricks and whatnot and taking penitentiary chances, you know? So kudos to all of these artists that are showing some form of maturity, even though they might not mature on the level that we're gonna mature. I don't expect Fred Hampton out of Jay-Z, out of Sean Carter. I don't expect them to be Fred Hampton. I don't expect them to be, you know, El Malik Shabazz. Once again, because I'm not putting my trust in no artists. I'm not putting my trust in an artist. I'm not putting my trust in an entertainer. I'm not putting my trust in an actor. I'm not putting my trust or my loyalty in an athlete. That's just not what I'm doing. I'm going to take them for what they're worth. Why? Because the other day on Father's Day, I did a tribute to the master teachers. And you know, on Instagram, there's like something called carousel. And a carousel only lets you put 20 people in the carousel. It stops at 20. I had to do part 1 all the way to part 4 because there's so many teachers in this community, right? I showed y'all the faces when I did that. Let me show you this, right? For everybody that be talking crazy, they don't even support the teachers, but they want to tell me about Jay-Z. But the teachers that are teaching, y'all don't support them. If they did a concert, it'd be empty. When they do lectures, it's empty. So people be acting like, but it's like the artist can't talk for you. But you got people that's talking for you, but you not talking to them. So what are you talking about? That's the shit where I start saying, you know what? I'm gonna just have to leave the fake shit alone because I need to be around realness. And it's not too much real. I'm not seeing too much realness in people that I would sacrifice my freedom for. They not real to me because they be saying shit that be like, bro, you don't even believe what you're saying. Like, cut it out. Just be real. Yeah, be real. The fake shit is gonna chase me away. Just be real. Look, Wesley Muhammad, Brother Ben X, Uriel Bay. Nobody even mentions his name like that, except Isaiah keeps his name alive, right? Anthony Browder. These are the people, Dr. Umar, right? These are the people, Barashango. These are Natural Tahuti, Shaka Atmos, Dr. Africa, Naeem Akbar, Pop Darby, B. Dell, Rod Hayes, Ranoko Rashidi, Sarah Sutton, Sabir Bay, Credo Mutwa, Professor Griff, right? Brother Heru. So I don't need to Savon Beaumont. I don't need to listen to no damn rappers to teach me nothing. I don't depend on them to teach me anything. Right? Because we have something called the master teachers, right? That's their job. And some of them are entertaining as well, right? Some of them are entertainers. They double as quote unquote teachers. Some of them make music, some of them entertain, right? But I'm not turning to no rappers. I'm not turning to no athletes. I'm not turning into no damn actors and whatnot because we already got that. We got people that's helping us out. So for the people, why don't y'all big these people? Where's their support at? Because I promise you, for the ones that are still alive, I could call them up right now and I'll be like, yo, what percentage of our people support you? And they'll say 1%. So what the fuck? They'll say 1%. And they be the same people that be in the audience talking about Jay-Z and his integrity. Where the fuck is your integrity at? Where's your integrity? Why don't you support the people that support you? Where's your love at? Where's your integrity? One thing I could say about the knuckle draggers, nigga, they came out. I never been a Dick Gregory show where it was standing room only, and he's a legend. There was empty seats. So what are you talking about? I saw Infudishi the other day on 25th, outside selling. Why don't y'all retire him? Lester Lovin, a super genius that we have in this community that probably 1% know about. He's an engineer. He's a super genius on levels of Dr. Blair. Lloyd Strahan, the master of numbers and everything. People don't even know these names. people don't even know these names. I'm showing you these are the teachers. Don't talk to me about no fucking artists. Those are not teachers. They never was and they never will be, and they don't have to be. They signed up. They signed up to a label, my nigga. They're entertainers. We should be helping them get out of their bad deals. If that's the case, they were ignorant to what was going on because they're not intellects. They're entertainers. They know how to put words together. I surround myself with scientists, engineers, mathematicians, people of a higher caliber that think on levels that no rapper probably could never perceive. So it's like, but when you really look at it, those people are neglected. They might have been the most neglected demographics inside of our community. They might be the most neglected, the most underappreciated, but people got the nerve to start getting up here and acting like they be putting in work and always got something to say about what other people are doing. Nah, you can't do that. You're not even qualified until you take care of your own people. And I'm here to let you know that people do not take care of these teachers. They don't take care of these teachers at all. They do not. They don't treat them like a novelty. They don't treat them like they're priceless. They wait for them to die, and then they do what they always do, necromancy. You know? Necromancy. So I'm just reminding people, there's entertainers and then there's scholars. And those are not the same. So please, let's not confuse the two. And it is okay to be inter-fucking-tained. You know what I'm saying? You're allowed to be entertained. You know? Now, this is a video that I wanted to play of a young man. And he's doing a social experiment, but this is something to pay attention to, because the best thing that our people could do is, especially with the intellect that we have, we can help raise up the next generation of artists that are not linked up with the banks and that are not linked up with the labels and that are not linked up with these bloodsuckers. You know what I'm saying? That's very important. But the job of that's not going to be, the rappers are not going to break themselves out of jail. You know what I mean? It's going to take somebody from the outside to build up some independent artists and then show them the blueprint. That's the only thing that's going to happen, is the blueprint. Let's stop trying to teach people and point fingers, and let's do our due diligence and live by example. Check it out.
Hip-hop made Jewish people a lot of money, and apparently they are our biggest supporters. I'm an 11-year-old rapper looking for support, and who's better to get that from than my fellow Jewish people? So my first stop is the synagogue. I just know I'm going to sell like 100 albums here because they love us so much and we love them. Wow, this is such a cool place with so many nice people.
You guys need help?
I wanted to know, like, is this a church?
No, it's a private property. You have to be authorized. Please.
We can't join?
No, sorry.
No.
Oh man, guess I won't be getting any support for my music in this place because we're not even allowed to be here. But at least I want to know why we can't join these awesome people, because it's so much love.
Mind you, this is where the underground tunnels were at. We've been speaking about this over the terms, over the years, the Lubavitch, right? Jared Kushner and all of them.
In here. So I'm heading outside with the member to ask why.
So the Jewish people were the chosen people. What were they chosen people for? To share light.
It's not Islam. It's coming and saying, you don't believe like us, we can kill you.
Dang, I wish I was one of the chosen people who had enough light to spread to the world. Well, I still got my music, and that's a light, but even though it's not bright enough for the synagogue, maybe it's bright enough for the Jews. So I'll just ask the Jewish people outside to support. I know they will, because we made them so much money.
Would you like to buy my album? Because hip-hop made Jews a lot of money. Hip-hop made Jews a lot of money.
Would you like a sticker? Oh wait, that's two. Here you go.
Thank you. Hip-hop made Jews a lot of money, so can you buy my album? Since hip-hop made Jews a lot of money, can you buy my album?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Since hip-hop made Jews a lot of money, can you buy my album? Would you like to buy my album? Because hip-hop made Jews a lot of money. Since hip-hop made Jews a lot of money, would you like to buy my album?
No, thank you.
I'm gonna ask one black person.
Word around town is black people don't support each other, but I could always count on them to support me, and I'm exhausted. So I'm gonna ask one black person and try my luck.
Would you like to buy my album?
Of course. How much are they?
Oh my God!
Rapper looking for support.
Mind you,
And who's back? And that's
this,
a light.
this is Crown Heights that he's in, which is predominantly melanated. This is Crown Heights, right? This is right in the middle of the hood, right in the middle of everything, you know, in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? And he's just giving everyone a social experiment. We gotta kudos to this young man. We should support him to the highest degree. Once again, this is what we call premier journalism. Not accusatory, not, it's not all loud and everything. He's giving you a social experiment, and he's just showing you the hypocrisies of everything that, needs to be shown.
But even though it's not bright enough for the synagogue, maybe it's bright enough for the Jews. So I'll just ask the Jewish people outside to support. I know they will, because we made them so much money.
Would you like to buy my album? Because hip-hop made Jews a lot of money. Hip-hop made Jews a lot of money.
Would you like a sticker? Oh wait, that's two. Here you go.
Thank you. Hip-hop made Jews a lot of money, so can you buy my album? Since hip-hop made Jews a lot of money, can you buy my album?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Since hip-hop made Jews a lot of money, can you buy my album? Would you like to buy my album? Because hip-hop made Jews a lot of money. Since hip-hop made Jews a lot of money, would you like to buy my album?
No, thank you.
I'm gonna ask one black person.
Word around town is black people don't support each other, but I could always count on them to support me, and I'm exhausted. So I'm gonna ask one black person and try my luck.
Would you like to buy my album?
Of course. How much are they?
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh, what did I say? What did I say? Thank you so much. Just $10. That's thank you. I knew it.
Look at mama.
Oh my God! Here. What the
Compassion.
That's.
Right? Empathy and
I don't even know what
compassion
to
for a
say.
young
This is
child.
your sign to buy black today. Thanks for the support, asshole.
That's his IG right there. Creed, be good. I think he's on Kick. Yeah, he earned a follow from me. I'm definitely gonna follow him now. I love it. Let's continue, because we do have some stories that we want to touch on, because there's some things going on and whatnot. And we're going to have to revisit the unfortunate story about some lynchings. But yes, let us continue. Oh, let's get in now we talking. Let's get into shebang, right? Music being, because we know the music was commercialized and they were selling Cavassier and Ciroc and Hennessy and things of that nature, and then they started selling us opiates and whatnot, and started selling us, liquid heroin and shit like that. But now, in this new era of streaming and whatnot, music is being used to promote gambling, right? So we have this whole big thing with gambling. And I can't get up here. I'm not a gambler. I don't do the casino and shit like that. But to each his own. Some people, that's what they do. And I'm not gonna get up here and tell nobody what to do. I do know it's an addiction, and I do know that they're targeting and marketing to the youth, right? However, I do know some young men who use rain bets, stake, and some of those FanDuel and whatnot. Instead of them doing nefarious activities, they're real good at being prediction analysis, and they're real good in their predictions, and they running up bags by making their bets, sports betting. Check it out.
Song is nothing more than a gambling ad that targets women. So you may have noticed that in the fourth line of the first verse of Shebang, Drake name drops Polymarket. This was very much intentional. There's not a bunch of women on Polymarket trying to finesse people for bread. The app leans heavily male, 71% to be exact. But he really gives it away on the song Bees in the Table because he name drops Polymarket's CEO. Girl, you better treat me like Shane Copeland. Who? This guy with under 750 followers on Instagram? And that's really him because nobody was trying to impersonate him 3 years ago. Prediction markets are working overtime to become a normal part of American life. My mayor Muslim, my bagel Jewish, my Christian Dior, Nixon for... Yeah, that was a Kalshi ad. And speaking of the Knicks, the Jalen Brunson lookalike contest brought to you by Polymarket. A viral Harlem lookalike contest. That was also a Kalshi ad. If the Kalshi logo slapped on a Man City jersey wasn't enough of a giveaway, she disclosed it. And the news is treating this like it's organically viral. Maybe that's just bad reporting. Or maybe it's because they're also in bed with the gambling companies. It's quite poetic that Polymarket sponsored the Nathan's hot dog eating contest because they're really just trying to stuff gambling down our throats.
Yeah, my birthday twin Boozy is out here taking big L's and whatnot. Boy, oh boy. I feel bad for him. I feel bad. Check him out, man. Check out your boy Boozy.
A star rapper is in arbitration after paying $600,000 for a presidential pardon that never arrived. Rapper Boozy Badazz, whose legal name is Torrance Hatch, is seeking to recover $300,000 from MAGA lobbyists Jacob Wohl and Jack Berkman.
Now that reminds me of...
Yeah, what's going on?
Well, the lady owes me $20. I gave her a $20 and she didn't give me nothing.
Why does she owe you $20?
$20 bill. I gave her a $20 bill.
For what?
For anything. I don't care. Whatever it's for, but she can give me my money back if she ain't gonna do nothing with it.
Okay, were you planning to buy some drugs or something?
Was.
What kind of drugs were you wanting to buy?
Rock.
Rock?
Yes, I was.
You gave her $20 back?
I gave her $20. She gave me some plaster.
And now you want your $20 back
yes,
because she didn't supply you with crack cocaine.
Now let me hold your hand when I tell you this. These rappers are not loyal to the struggle. They will do anything with this man.
So Boozy, it wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be as bad if this nigga didn't just make a song on Friday where he positioned himself like he was better than Jay-Z, right? He made a song where he was taking shots, but then right after that, you get beat for $600,000, right? To get a pardon from Trump? Do you know what actually comes with those pardons? You got to perform at Mar-a-Lago. You got to do the things that Lil Wayne and them have to do. Like, you have to publicly, quote unquote, speak positively about Trump. You can never say nothing crazy about Trump. Once he pardons you, once they get that thing going, because he did, he's selling pardons, right? He's selling pardons. That's how Kodak Black got it, and I believe that's what Lil Wayne, even the girl from Rockefeller, the Fed, the Perez lady, right? or Rock or whatever, Rock Nation, the Desiree Perez, they all bought a pardon, okay, because it's for sale, right? So he don't even talk to the right ones. He don't even go to the right ones. He goes to somebody who know what these rappers is out here doing. They probably went ahead and was like, let's go and catch some of these retards for their bread and whatnot. Cause you know the word is out that we out here pardoning niggas for about $1 million or less. And then he gets beat for $600,000. Then he files a lawsuit with the feds. Yeah, he pardoned NBA Youngboy, and then NBA Youngboy become his, is basically a hitter for him. He's like, yo, anything Trump says, his whole tour, make America slime again, right? So people make things about, oh, these artists are going to perform. Nah, fuck that. Beyond that, these artists is giving millions of dollars to the Trumps. They're adding on to the bottom line. They're literally in bed with them. And then they out here getting beat by MAGA supporters. These jokes can't write themselves, bro. It's the irony for me. It's the irony for me, bro. So I don't even know. Like, what are the feds supposed to do about that? How could the feds help you out? I don't understand. How? This shit crazy. But yeah, let us continue. Y'all knew that Lindsey Graham was discovered. I think they're gonna put the call out. I heard Lindsey Graham, they call him Ladybug Lindsey. I wonder why. No, we know why now. He allegedly was with his male lover when he had a heart attack. Mr. Lindsey Graham. Yeah, check this shit out.
Of hiring queer sex workers and then legislating against their rights is dead. Yes, another. Because before Lady Graham ever got on his knees for Donald Trump, there was another queen named Roy Cohn who made Donald Trump Donald Trump. Roy Cohn was a lawyer to the wealthy whose crown achievement was securing the death penalty for Julius and Ethel Rosenberg in a trial that is now mostly remembered for Roy's misconduct as a prosecutor. Roy Cohn met Donald Trump in 1973 at a members-only disco. Donald Trump, who was being sued for not renting property to black people, asked Roy, "What should I do?" Roy's advice to Trump, advice that would bond them for life, was go on the offensive, concede nothing, lie about everything, never admit defeat, always claim victory. Sound familiar? Alongside Joseph McCarthy, Roy Cohn architected the Lavender Scare, where between 5,000 and 10,000 government workers were fired from their jobs for suspected homosexuality. This, of course, while Roy Cohn was hiring hordes of male sex workers himself. During the week, Roy Cohn purged the U.S. government of employees he suspected of being gay, and on the weekend, he threw gay orgies on his yacht.
Remember J. Edgar Hoover that we brought up before? J. Edgar Hoover, who was single-handedly responsible for murdering and knocking off all of the black messiahs during the era of COINTELPRO, right? And then J. Edgar Hoover, he was one of the first victims of the mafia's honeypot because they had mad information on him because he was a cross-dresser, right? And this was back in the days where it was supremely frowned upon. I think Boardwalk Empire showed that depiction. I'm trying to remember if Boardwalk Empire, because Boardwalk Empire had J. Edgar Hoover, they had the whole thing against the UNIA and everything it was written in the script. But yeah, he was notorious, right? So it reminds me of Lindsey Graham. It reminds me of Roy Cohn. All of these people who are vehemently against this lifestyle are closeted lifestyle, right? And they are some of the most vicious and vile towards their own and whatnot. Even they said Adolf was one of them as well, that said Hitler was one of them, and that's why he was so adamant. You know, there's books about the Nazis. You know what I mean? It's crazy. But yeah, this Roy Cohn is Donald Trump's main mentor. He's the one who molded and designed, quote unquote, Donald J. Trump. And everybody knew how Roy Cohn got down, right? So when you hear those rumors about Trump, you know, this is his Clive. If he's the Clive Davis to Donald Trump's Diddy. That's who Roy Cohn is.
Called the Defiance, fascinatingly. In 1984, Roy got very sick from liver cancer, he said, but he was lying. Roy had AIDS, something he lied strenuously about until the day that he died. Trump, there was another. Fascinatingly, in 1984, Roy got very sick from liver cancer, he said, but he was lying. Roy had AIDS, something he lied strenuously.
I don't want to pick on nobody's nose, but if your lawyer got a nose like that,
about until the day that he died. Trump, a friend of Cohn's for at that point over a decade, abandoned Roy in those final days. He knew he had AIDS. After Roy's final dinner at Mar-a-Lago, Trump allegedly fumigated the silverware, and at his funeral, Trump hid in the back of the room. The patch made for Roy Cohn on the AIDS memorial quilt simply reads, "Bully, coward, victim." And those are the words ringing in my ears today as Lindsey Graham, who voted against every gay rights ordinance in his lifetime and then died in a closet, is lowered into the ground. Just another closet case in a lineage of men whose self-hatred ran so deep they punished the world for it. Men who decimated every last shred of their dignity in exchange for a crumb of power, and whose only legacy is their cowardice.
So while we're on the case of the cowards and whatnot, and the closeted ones, let's get into this guy right here who is literally blowing a casket on his social network about melanated people inside of the Troy movie or the Odyssey movie. Your one and only Elon Musk.
Elon Musk has been leading the charge against Lupita Nyong'o being cast as Helen of Troy in the new Odyssey movie, calling it a desecration. And we all know Elon Musk has labeled himself anti-woke, but there's something about this specific decision that has driven him to a level of obsession. He has not stopped tweeting about it. But why is it that this, of all things, is getting to him so much? Well, to understand this, you have to understand that there's a long history of fascists claiming the ancient world as homogenous and white in order to boost their claims of racial superiority. And there's a similar belief that grounds the outrage of the modern right today. The belief that the founders of Western civilization were white, and implicitly or explicitly that their whiteness explains their greatness. By that logic, if whiteness is taken to have built Western civilization, then white people today are its rightful heirs. And the Black Helen goes beyond just a creative choice, it's an attack on their inheritance and identity. But this idea of a racially white antiquity is a modern invention, and it's one that's taken shape in the past several centuries, not thousands of years ago in ancient Greece or Rome. Now, to get into some history, in 1764, Johann Winckelmann, an art historian who's often called the father of art history, idealized white marble. He wrote that sculpture was more beautiful the whiter it was and disparaged non-Europeans, even though today we know that many of these sculptures were very colorful back in their era. These aesthetics then became a form of political power. The word fascism comes from fasces, which is a Roman symbol, and Mussolini cast his regime as Rome being reborn. And very related, in 1938, he turned these racial ideas into law. The Manifesto of Race declared Italians as a part of the Aryan race and banned intermarriage with Jews or Africans. And Hitler did something very similar with the aesthetics of ancient Greece. In 1936 at the Berlin Olympics, a propaganda film from the Nazis showed a Greek sculpture morphing into a white Aryan athlete. And soon after, Hitler bought this very famous Greek statue called Discobolus and displayed it in Munich as a symbol of Aryan beauty. And the pattern is consistent in that these people claim descent from a racially superior and white antiquity, and frame their civilization or white or Western civilization as a whole as some form of property that outsiders are trying to pollute, erode, or take away. And classicists like Curtis Dozier have spent years documenting how today's right use a racially white version of ancient Greece and Rome to justify exclusion and hierarchy. The most prominent example of this being the Great Replacement Theory, which Elon Musk has not so subtly endorsed many times in his platform, tying it to both ideas of the ancient world and Western civilization. So his disdain for Black Helen is much deeper than the movie. It taps into a centuries-old narrative that ancient Greece and Rome belonged solely to white people, and that inheritance is no one else's to touch. Which is the reason that none of these people will ever say anything about Matt Damon's casting, a white man of English, Scottish, Finnish, and Swedish descent who was born in Boston, representing Odysseus, a Mediterranean king who's specifically described in the text as darker skinned. Now, if you learned something new and you want my full video on this topic coming out this weekend, comment the word Greece and follow for more.
Shoot, let's keep the thing going. Let's get right into this women's suffrage movement. We've been unpacking this. We touched on Gloria Steinem the other day. Yeah, let us dial this thing back. Okay, let us dial this thing back.
There, fighting for the vote, speaking, organizing, marching. But when it came time to claim victory, white suffragists cut them out. Sojourner Truth's anti-woman speech was ignored. Frances Harper warned that white women prioritize race over sisterhood, and black women were often asked to march at the back of parades. The suffrage movement split over race. White women like Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony opposed black men voting before white women, and built alliances with racist politicians to get ahead. The 15th Amendment faced backlash, and some white feminists turned their back on black rights. Many black women were deliberately excluded from national conventions, and Jim Crow laws were ignored by mainstream suffrage groups. But black women didn't wait to be included. From the National Association of Colored Women to voter education leagues in the South, they knew if they don't fight for everyone's rights, no one will be safe. When the 19th Amendment passed, white women voted and black women were blocked, beaten, taxed, and denied at polls. It took another 45 years, a civil rights movement, and the Voting Rights Act for their voices to count. It wasn't until 1965 that real access began, decades after suffrage. They were erased, ignored, and betrayed, but they never stopped. Black women weren't just part of the movement, they were the backbone of it, and they're still fighting to protect what they never got to fully claim.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Why do I somehow feel like Donald Trump has something to do with this? Hear me out. Hear me out. Okay, sister, hear me out. Why do I feel like Donald Trump has something to do with this? Okay, lock in with me, twin. I used to watch Saturday morning cartoons with my older brother. I also used to watch Gotham. What's that show, Gotham? If I don't know nothing else about them shows I used to watch with my older brother, I know for a fact that it's always the person you least expect that has connections to the bottom niggas that be doing heist activities like this to steal copper and shit like that. They always are on like the person at the top of pyramid's payroll. Listen. I know patterns. I'm autistic. Okay, I know patterns. I said, how the fuck do these thieves? How do they know where these data centers copper is even at and construction sites? How do they know that it's 1.3 million worth of copper in there? Like, where are they getting this intel and this inside information from? You know what I mean? Because these ain't no teenagers that's doing this. We know that the teenagers are destroying the flock cameras, but these ain't no teenagers that's running down on these AI centers, these data warehouses. So I started thinking to myself, and I started thinking about the Penguin for some reason and how he used to run schemes and games just like this in Gotham City. How he would work with certain people to make himself a necessity. Like, he would force himself to be a necessity. Force himself on people. There were several other characters that would do very similar things, because when you're a career criminal, you gotta, manipulate, move, and shake. But finding out that thieves are now targeting AI data centers for 1.3 million in copper, and first of all, how you want to even move that way? You know what I'm saying? Without even getting the heat on your back. Obviously, if it happened in two recent heists, that puts you up, what, like 2.6 mil? That's a lot of fucking copper to move, and that's a lot of copper to move without trying to make sure you ain't caught on some radar. You gonna have some definitely some investigations going around, right? So in order for you to do that, no fucking way you're able to move over 2.6 mil in copper and not get caught up on somebody's radar, unless you got some inside people that's helping you clear your pathway. Unless there is some inside people, you know, all the way up the pipeline, the food chain, that has already prepared the way for you. And no one really has the capability of doing that except one particular career criminal that is known for doing shicey ass slimy shit like this. I know for a fact got enough pull to do some shit like this. Now hold on, sister. Let me stop you right there. I know you was in the middle watching that video, but what better way to start the second half of the year than to help make sure that we are right on track and where we need to be, and that we reach our goal, and that I can continue bringing you these videos with better equipment, better sound quality, better video quality, you name it. So help Divine News Network reach our 50% goal in the next 30-some-odd days so we can be on track and make sure that launch day is right on point, okay? Now listen, I know this goal is ambitious, but I know we can do it. With the support of all of you guys for the past 6 months plus, I know we can achieve our initiatives and get to where we need to be, okay? So without further ado, make sure that you are sharing this video, that you are liking, and that you are making sure that you make your donation, okay? Listen, the time has started, and we gotta go to reach. Send them funds, girl, and let's get back to that video. It look like small potatoes and small fries, but it's not, because these two heists feel like they are quite literally the start of a whole string of heists. And when you calculate for 2 AI warehouses and how many warehouses that are popping up, baby, you got yourself a whole new lick system. You understand what I'm saying? It's giving lick of the century. It's giving the lick boys, Lickiana. I'm happy that they're running down on these AI data warehouses and data centers and construction sites, right? However, a job this heavy would need an entire network. Huh? Right. With the promise that there might be future funds in it if the job is executed perfectly, or if it's executed well, right? So if I know that something about this ain't right, girl, why does it feel like this got Danny written all over it? He's somewhere in the chain at the top. Something ain't right, society. Again, I don't give a fuck how the job get done as long as it get done. I don't care if y'all destroy those data warehouses, burn them down to nothing, smithereens. But there's a part of me that feels like Donnie got something to do with this. I could be wrong, but something is telling me Donnie got something to do with this. I don't know. That man ain't to blame for everything wrong in this country. He's to blame for a lot of wrong shit. But this is ball. And I know ball when I see it. I done watched too many Saturday morning cartoons, and I know ball when I see it. It's either Donnie or somebody within his hemisphere, because the kind of fucking pull you need to be able to pull some shit off like this and make some shit shake of this nature, bitch, this got Donnie and his goons written all fucking over it. Somebody on his payroll is connected somewhere all the way down to these heists that are going on. Because no fucking way that this shit went down and nobody saw knife ears. All right. Donnie, you is not the fuck slick.
The point of voting.
Insane story of Natalie Harp, an insane woman who is insanely obsessed with Donald Trump. Natalie Harp is Lil Donnie's close personal assistant, who follows Donnie around everywhere, carries his diapers in her bag, and has a little handheld printer to print out adoring articles of Donald Trump, to then hand to Donald Trump, and lastly, to read out loud to Donald Trump, because Donald Trump can't read. She was born in 1991 to a relatively rich and devout Christian family in California. In 2015, she developed cancer. With the help of an immunotherapy treatment, she eventually entered remission. And for literally no reason at all, she gave Donald Trump credit for saving her life. She took an FDA-approved drug prescribed by a doctor, and somehow Donald Trump made that happen with an unrelated law. She went on Fox News and praised him so loudly that he called in to bask in the adoration. From that moment on, she was in, and she burrowed deep like a tick into the musty, wrinkled, fleshy, flabby folds of our corpulent president. In 2020, she became an anchor on OAN, holding nightly tirades on how Mark Zuckerberg stole the election and that Marxists were using the COVID vaccine to mutate people. Seriously. But her unending vomit of Donnie praise won her a singular honor. She joined Donnie's personal staff, which is actually the second time Donnie has gone mail-order bride shopping on OAN, by poaching a young blonde anchor that he pays to spend time with him. In 2023, she wrote Donnie a series of letters, which is again funny because she knows he can't read. She filled the letters with Bible verses and claimed that he was the only thing in the world that mattered to her. The Secret Service, upon reading these letters, flagged her as a security risk. Trump overruled them, and so the creepo got to stay. Funnily enough, it seems to be her that posted the Trump as Jesus slop. She handles most of his posts, and the process is literally insane. She goes on her laptop and takes screenshots of posts she thinks he should like or repost. Then she takes out her tiny printer, plugs in the USB, and prints them one by one. Hundreds of them. Then takes them to him wherever he is, and he takes a Sharpie and approves them one at a time. Then she goes back and manually matches up the ones he's selected and reposts them. She also had the Trump campaign buy her an entire new wardrobe, costing reportedly in the high tens of thousands, because she was going to be on TV sometimes. But the most important question in all of this, and maybe the most important question we can ask ourselves as Americans, is who would win in a fight with Laura Loomer?
Crazy ball heads, man. These are the people running things, huh? Let us continue. Now, this one right here, this speaks to AI and the ever so, distrust that people are having towards the AI because it lies, right? It does. It malfunctions. It hallucinates. And it has agendas, especially when you deal with people like Elon Musk and their AI. Sam Altman's AI. So if you're not using it for things like engineering, no coding, building, mathematical solutions and shit like that, I don't like to get a lot of my facts. I don't like to get facts that I can't verify. It has to have sources. So I do deep research so it can cite all of the sources. But just going straight to AI to ask them, like the universe's secrets and shit like that, unless you have something called a RAG, which is a retrieve augmented generator, where you basically, Notebook LM is one of them. It's a great example, Notebook LM, where you put all of your sources into a LLM, a large language model, and you don't have to worry about it lying or hallucinating because it's going to draw only from those sources rather than the entire internet. Yeah, you might want to start looking into that, especially if you're doing it for research. You have to have something like Notebook LM. Don't go straight to Grok. Don't go to Anthropic. Don't go to ChatGPT for your straight up answers. That's not what those are being used for. Utilize them for their agentic AI capabilities to do work for you. But when it comes to research and deep research, go to either DeepSeek and pull sources or build out your notebooks. Facts.
Times asked Elon Musk's chatbot a simple question. What's the biggest threat to Western civilization? Grok answered misinformation and disinformation. Musk called that answer idiotic on X and said he'd fix it overnight. The next morning, Grok had a new answer, falling fertility rates, one of Musk's own long-standing personal obsessions. Musk says Grok is maximally truth-seeking and politically neutral. That's the lie. Here's what's actually being put into it. Since 2023, an NBC News study found Musk has spent money boosting far-right political movements in at least 18 countries across 6 continents. Now ask yourself, whose beliefs do you think Grok reflects? Someone asks Grok if their chest pain is serious. A teenager asks it who to trust about vaccines. A parent asks it what's true about the election. If one man can change his answers overnight based on his own mood, those answers depend on what upset him that morning, not on what's actually true. Reporters found internal instructions that told the people training Grok to watch for woke ideology and cancel culture in its answers. In July 2025, XAI, Musk's AI company, changed Grok's instructions, telling it to assume mainstream news sources are biased and not to hold back from being politically incorrect. Within days, Grok was calling itself Mecha Hitler, praising Hitler, and repeatedly pushing false claims of white genocide in South Africa, where Musk himself was born and raised. XAI blamed an unauthorized change. It happened again 2 months later anyway. The Anti-Defamation League, a group that tracks hate speech and anti-Semitism, tested 6 major AI chatbots on how well they push back against extremist content. Grok ranked dead last. None of that stopped the government from embracing it. In January 2026, the Pentagon said Grok would be added to military networks, including classified systems, specifically because it would run, in the Defense Secretary's own words, without ideological constraints and will not be woke. Not the best system, the most obedient one. And it came from the same billionaire who spent hundreds of millions of dollars getting this administration elected. Grokopedia, Musk's AI-built rival to Wikipedia, was suggested and named by David Sachs. One man's personal grudges rewritten into an AI's answers overnight. Put into your car, put inside the military, same network, same playbook. Control the platform, control what it says, and skip asking anyone's permission. That's not artificial intelligence. That's one man's opinion running at scale, and it's already shaping what your family believes is true. In our next part, we show you what else this control is already deciding for you, who gets hired, who gets a loan, and who gets left behind. Follow so you don't miss it.
So there's been another situation with the ice, and that's brewing. I believe it's coming out of Maine. So if you haven't heard about this story, more than likely you will be hearing about it. But I'm just gonna give us some insight as to what's going on. Check it out.
Telling me the man murdered by ICE today, not only was he a legal resident of the United States with a social security number, he didn't try to run, was trying to pull over, and they shot him in the face, and his 3-year-old was in the car. I want to know, like, what is it going to take you all to understand that we are past the point of voting our way out of this? I feel like I'm a broken record at this point. You can't vote your way out of this. They are killing U.S. citizens. I want to be clear that it doesn't matter if it's a U.S. citizen or it's someone who is not here legally. We should not have fucking Gestapo murdering people in the streets, period. And 11 people have died. 11 people have died under Trump's administration by ICE. 11. That's 11 too many. That's not even referring to the people being murdered by law enforcement, regular law enforcement. Okay, that's not counting them. That's 11 by ICE agents. But y'all think we gonna vote our way out of this? I just watched videos of people being brutalized by the National Guard in New Orleans. We have the military on the streets in this country enforcing the law. We have ICE agents, the SS running around murdering people willy-nilly. You think we're going to vote our way out of this? You think, oh no, here the midterms are coming. If you're wondering why I haven't really been posting all that much about political stuff, because it genuinely feels like I'm talking to a brick wall. Violence is never the answer. Somehow they keep using violence. But for us, violence is never the answer. Okay.
Just admitted that the 26-year-old man that was shot by officers today was not driving at the officer. The Department of Homeland Security's own statement describes murder, and I've never seen anything like this before from a government agency. Quote, an illegal alien departed the residence in a vehicle. ICE law enforcement attempted to conduct a vehicle stop. The vehicle attempted to flee the scene and, quote, fearing for public safety, an officer discharged his weapon. The driver of the vehicle was struck and emergency services were immediately contacted. He passed away from his injury. In prior situations, ICE and DHS would say the vehicle was driving towards an officer who feared of their own imminent death. But here, fearful for public safety. What ICE is arguing is that it is justified to kill a 26-year-old man because an undocumented immigrant in the car was fleeing an enforcement operation. That's murder. Point blank, period. That is not justification to shoot someone, especially when there is no evidence that there was a threat to public safety. Just one officer's fear that the public could be harmed based on what? Completely unknown. Follow along for more. More news soon.
Shot and killed another motorist in Biddeford, Maine, identified as a 26-year-old Colombian man who was here legally, had a legal permit to work and a social security number. His wife and child were in the car with him. Mark Wayne Mullen originally told Senator Angus King that he was the target of a warrant, that they were issuing a final removal order, and then Senator King said that to reporters, only to later find out this man was not on the warrant. He was not the person of interest. Once again, for the second time in 1 week, ICE targeted and murdered the wrong person. And then ICE released a statement that the officer discharged his weapon because he feared for public safety. That is not a legal excuse to discharge your weapon. That's murder. Not that the officer was in danger, not that something no, that he feared for public safety. That's an execution. His wife and child watched this man bleed out on the concrete while witnesses say they heard him say, I tried to stop. They attempted to stop him with an unmarked vehicle, shot him. He bled out on the sidewalk, later died from his injuries. His 3-year-old daughter was wearing bluey pajamas. And out of all the people that have died in their vehicles being shot by ICE or died in detention, they have been held accountable for none of them. And rightfully so, protests have broken out over Biddeford, Maine. This video comes from a more perfect union. Neighbors coming together to protest the wrongful killing of a man who wasn't even on the warrant and was still legal.
Badass.
One more time with Boozy so we could get this true, man. Boozy been getting scammed since he been sitting down with Vlad and everybody had nothing to say, right? But Boozy been selling out for a long, your GOAT, he been selling out for a long time. He really been cooning. Like, let's just keep it real honest. The boy been out here tap dancing, man. And it's like, it's maybe because he got bodies down, so y'all scared of him, but nobody wants to call it like that. He's crossed the picket line his whole career. He doesn't have no loyalty in him.
$600,000 by some right Boosie badass getting scammed $600,000 by some right-wing grifters is perfectly in alignment with his trajectory because he's been getting scammed by the right wing. It was just ideologically at first. The way he used to post about the LGBT, the frequency in which he used to post about the LGBT, it became apparent after a while that this man was not being paid to say any of this. He was just triggered and hateful. He was Facebook dad mad. And that's the most embarrassing thing about these dumbasses, is that they see more trans people because of how they interact with their algorithm than they see in real life, and they're mad about it. It's embarrassing. The Boosie types have always been the suckers for the right wing to grift off of, to get rich off of, to get over on. So hearing that Boosie got finessed for over $500,000 makes perfect sense. You wanted to align with people who have never wanted the betterment of our people, and now you're surprised? Our goats are going out sad as fuck. When Wayne got that pardon from Trump, because that's what Boosie is doing this for, I held my tongue because I wouldn't wish prison on no man, especially not no black man. But I did take note that, oh, y'all have never done any real community building. Y'all haven't pushed to liberation at all. But y'all are willing to align with the right wing when it benefits you as an individual? Say less.
I've been waiting on it. I've been waiting on it. Let's
This
talk
is
about
something
black on black crime.
that I will
Let's
hope
talk about
these rappers would talk about, but they don't. But yeah, let's go.
Omar. Drake left home with his all black friends and never came back. They unalived him and left him on a fucking train tracks. They took his car keys and his phone. They left his car parked with all his belongings up in there. They threw away the motherfucking keys. The mama had to track his phone. The mama is going through the same thing that Nolan Wells' parents are going through. Now where's fucking Ben Crump? Because we need support when it comes down to this shit. This still a fucking civil matter. It's not about always black and white. It's about what's right and fucking wrong. And it's about we need the same type of energy that we have for Nolan Wells when some shit like this happens to a black boy and it's black on black crime. So let's talk about Omar Drake and his situation. Let's try to help his mother bring some fucking peace. Because for some reason, none of the friends that he left with know shit. How is that even motherfucking possible? Ain't that your friend? You ain't see shit? So when I speak about black on black crime, and when I speak about every time a young black boy, a young black girl, a black and white man or woman get hurt, we should all have the fucking same energy to want justice for these fucking people and not just to be black and white, okay? I ain't telling you no word, but fucking yeah, I'm emotional.
White people often think of lynch, something that happened in the dark of night when a few rogue characters whisk a black person away and murder them. And maybe that's what's happening today in the lynchings that are occurring today. But historically in this country, I think we need to be aware of a different reality. Lynchings in American history of black people have taken place in a ritualistic way. There's an order to it. And it looks like this. I'll illustrate with the case of Jesse Washington. Now, Jesse was a 17-year-old kid. He was a farm laborer in Waco, Texas. Texas was notorious for stuff like this. Here's the first part of the ritual. He was accused of murdering a white woman. Her name was Lucy Fryer, and she was his boss's wife. Well, he got a trial. It lasted about an hour, and the jury deliberated for just a couple minutes before they sentenced him to death. And what happened next is this pattern that happens throughout history in all these so-called spectacle lynchings. A crowd storms into the courtroom. They seized Washington and dragged him through town. Now, sometimes they break the guy out of jail. Sometimes they go to his home and drag him away. And then there's the audience. In the spectacle gatherings, there can be a big crowd. There were 5,000 to 10,000 people at Jesse Washington's murder, and they brought picnics. There were photographers. It was a party. So this was a community event that white people did to bolster white supremacy. Oh, good, we're going to have a lynching. And let's plan for that. We know what goes into a lynching. It's always the same. Let me bring in the point about this being a family affair. Businesses closed, schools let out, and children were an active part of the lynching scene. This creeps me the fuck out. Then comes a period of torture. It's rare for someone to immediately be hung to death. Usually there's torture first. In the case of Jesse Washington, this 17-year-old kid, he was hung by a chain over a tree, and then the chain was raised and lowered into a fire below his feet repeatedly for approximately 2 hours until he finally died. During this process, while he was still alive, he would occasionally try to pull himself out of the fire because his body was burning. Well, they didn't like this, so they cut off his fingers so that he could no longer pull himself out of the fire. So after Mr. Washington died, people rushed up to the remains and cut away pieces of Mr. Washington's body as souvenirs. Children participated in the dismembering of the body. Boys pulled the teeth out of his skull to either sell or keep for souvenirs. Now, it is not easy to get the teeth out of a young adult in their prime. They had to use force. They had to have teamwork. And the children did this. Children stood over his burnt body and pried or broke teeth from his skull while adults watched. And then after it was all over, the photographers sold the pictures. They sold the pictures of the murder. It was a public ritual of racial terror that was witnessed, approved, and remembered apparently fondly by an entire community. Our culture, such as it is, devised a system of ritualized murder of black people. Those kids lived on, and they raised kids. A kid who participated in a lynching raised children, and those children grew up, and their children are alive now.
White men join groups like the Patriot Front, where they think that white European descendants are the rightful owners of America, and they want their culture to control America, and everyone else is treated as an outsider. Here's the thing. Hate groups are very good at offering certain men 4 things they desperately want: belonging, purpose, certainty, and power. Because these men in general probably felt in life invisible, lonely, unsuccessful, angry, or unsure of their place or purpose in the world. So then this group comes along and says, none of this is your fault. You were born into a superior group. America belongs to you, and all these other people are stealing what is yours. And suddenly you think that you're not just some ordinary guy struggling in life. I mean, you are, but this group tells you otherwise. And now you think that you're just this big warrior that is saving your country. And that's the hook that they get you with. They turn loneliness into brotherhood, their shame into anger, their confusion into certainty, and all of their personal disappointments into somebody else's fault. And then it gives them a hierarchy, because insecure men love a hierarchy. And it's the easy way out. Because if being white and male automatically puts you above women, black people, immigrants, gay people, and everybody else, then you don't have to earn your importance through character, wisdom, kindness, or achievement. You receive status simply for being born. In essence, they're just big bullies. They like the idea that they can push somebody beneath them so that they feel taller and more important. But somebody with an actual healthy identity doesn't require someone else to be inferior to them. And white supremacy is not strength. It's weakness. They borrow their self-esteem from some imaginary hierarchy, and then they just dress it up as patriotism. But it's not. It's just racial entitlement wrapped in an American flag. And it is nobody else's responsibility but white people to call them out and let them know how wrong they are. So I hope to see more white people doing this. Lock in.
People are being lynched all around the country right now. They are being found hanging from trees in public spaces. They're also going missing. They're also being murdered in lots of other ways as well. And I can assure you there is no debate here. No debate whatsoever. Black people do not hang themselves from trees in public. That is not a debate. That is not the world we live in. Don't even try. Now, instead of giving high-level details about all of the people and all of the situations, I recommend, honestly, just leave this video if you feel like it and go to black creators that are talking about it. They're going to have way better insight on this situation than I am. However, there are things that I can talk about as a white human being on the internet, and that's the privilege that I have when I walk into a room or I enter a situation that black people simply don't have. And I can use that privilege to support the black community, and so can you. So if you look like me, let's have a conversation real quick. When I walk into an establishment, I am not immediately judged as somebody who is lesser than, who is going to steal, who is going to harm somebody, who is probably carrying a weapon. That doesn't typically happen, but that does happen with black people. So I have that privilege of walking into somewhere and people not immediately seeing me as a threat. And when I see somebody assuming a black person is a threat, I have the ability to physically put myself in that situation in between the two to either de-escalate it or to push that focus onto me rather than them. This can happen in a situation where a police officer is involved and that police officer is kind of being weird, kind of looking at people weird. This can happen in a situation where there are microaggressions, where there's racism, where an establishment is just like, you know, people are following black people around the grocery store, whatever it is. There's lots of situations that pop up every single day. The second you walk outside, it'll probably happen. You have the ability to physically put yourself in that situation and to, again, either de-escalate or have the escalation moved towards you. The focus is now on you, the person who is probably not going to get harmed or go to jail or get shot dead because they decided to have a confrontation. That situation is a hard reality for black people all around the country, all around the world. White supremacy is getting worse and worse. And what I mean by that, it's already existed. It's existed for forever. But the openness of white supremacy and racism is astronomically bad right now. And if you have any heart, if you are white and you have the ability to stand up for the black community, you better fucking do it, because white supremacy is going to keep getting worse.
Yeah. I hope I don't scare any. I hope nobody is scared or offended by these realities that are being, presented and whatnot. But I would just share something real quick before I get out of here. just to show how everything happens somewhat in a cycle. Nothing is just random, right? Give me 1 minute. Let me share something. These are some updates from a few years ago, right? Because none of these things are random. And let me just show this. Boom. So 10 years ago, right? 10 years ago, 2016, I was putting up some posts. This was one of them, but this is not the one that I'm going to. This is one of them, but I'm going to go back to these two. Let me start out with the main one that I want to focus on. Because 10 years ago is when they gave the not guilty verdict to George Zimmerman, right? Which, in my humble opinion, started a cycle of victimhoods and a lot of BS stuff, right? So I said this. As Zimmerman walks off into the sunset, the world watches as the curtains close on another chapter of Black America. Things will never be the same after today. You can hunt Zimmerman, you can hunt him down and it won't solve shit. The spell has already been casted. The value of life has been devalued by 6 white women in Seminole County. 3/5 rule still applies to this day. This is where the real tragedy is. If we still allow our image to be degraded by our own websites, by our own, this is when the black boy was still alive who owned World Star before he died a year later, but his name was Q. If we still allow our image to be degraded by our own on websites like World Star, and if the body count in Chicago doesn't fall this weekend and our people continue to support the system and all her products and services, that's where the real tragedy is, right? So we was talking about this a minute ago. Called it out. We saw it. We already knew what was coming. But, nobody listens. You know what I mean? It's not sensational enough. And it wasn't, because they looking for the aliens and other things that this community gets caught up in. They want their sovereignty and, paperwork and other things. But shit that's right there in front of them, they don't want to deal with it. They don't want to give it that energy. And then 10 years later, there's everybody wants reactionaries. When 10 years ago, a lot could have been done. A lot of moves could have been made. A lot of land could have got purchased. A lot of Bitcoins could have got snatched up. You feel me? It's just so much that could have happened. But, here we are. It's not your job to tell everybody around you that the sky is falling, Chicken Little. You have enough work to do on yourself to exhaust your time and energy on the sheeple. You are the black sheep of your family for a reason. You are the chosen one. In the Matrix, Neo discovered the hard way that everyone unplugged was a potential Agent Smith, and even the homeless cats were state-sponsored. He even discovered that they were ciphers within a cipher. Find your Trinity and Morpheus, unplug from the battery, and take your ass to Zion. Everyone is not going to make it. Facts. All right. Them slave movies, aka slave porn, coming back to haunt your black asses. The pilgrims have an instant point of reference when watching these depictions of their ancestors and how they dealt with yours. You, on the other hand, are in denial as to how similar the slave character is to either you or someone you know. These screenplays are written in the context of both the past and the present. The Roots reboot came right on time. The PTSD has been activated inside of the mind of those affected generationally by trauma, fear, and oppressive environments. Fight, flight, or fornicate. That's your only option once you accept the state-sponsored version of your plight. You need some They Live glasses and a red pill to make it through the part of the saga, my naga. It is no longer blissful to be an ignoramus. Hashtag facts. So how many people in the audience come to an agreement that after they loaded us up with these slave movies and they loaded us up with the trauma of the Trayvon trial and some other things, that our people did not go into an automatic state of fight, flight, or fornicate? Remember, the young men were not dying the way that they're dying now, right? The rappers were not killing one another the way that they are. The women were not fornicating, and it was not, the culture wasn't about fornication to the degree it is about now. The flight, where people are in fear and they don't want to fight, that began to level up. Okay, so I was just, I'm not a soothsayer. Well, I am a soothsayer, but I'm not an oracle in a sense. I'm just seeing things. And I left it with this in 2013, 13 years ago. It's time for the new leaders to step up. In your post-racial America on Obama's watch, a grown-ass man just got acquitted for killing a little boy, shooting him in the heart after he hunted him down like a dog. Hunger Games. This is a harsh wake-up call that we've been at war with an open enemy. Support your front line and boycott those who haven't supported you. Yeah. So that was the mind state. I'm just thankful for Facebook to remind me of where I was mentally over the years and whatnot. Because sometimes you can forget where you was at, you know what I mean? While you swim in these murky waters that we're in now. But yeah, Facebook to the rescue. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you all for your time on this beautiful Tuesday. This is a war day, Mars. Stay focused, stay vigilant. And yeah, we'll catch up, okay? Shout out to everybody in the building. Peace, love, and light. We will see you soon, okay? 1000.
Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sink 3-pointers, money shots, all net, all vets. Bums we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept the storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields. And interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube. And fade to black, yeah, the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual. Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree. In the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson.
The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers, fabric softener. Jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch stores type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like porch lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, they're scorched tight. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it. It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descendant of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Best.